Welcome to the show, Dr. Jennifer Freed.
I couldn't be
Thank
more
you.
happy to be here because what you're about, I'm about, and we women have to support the change
Woo.
of consciousness
Woo!
rapidly.
Thank you for starting the show like that. Gosh, I don't even know where to begin because I am truly, when I connected to your work, I was really awe-inspired. You started the show really talking about, in the first couple of seconds, consciousness, the awakened path, and connecting to my birth chart, specifically looking through it through a psychological lens over the last decade, had radically shifted my consciousness, changed my life, and activated, I think, the highest level of my purpose. And so I cannot understate for myself and others, speaking of this on this show, how important this is and how necessary and beautiful and even romantic it feels to get in touch with the truth of your chart and your life. So I am just so honored to have you, more than you could really know.
Well, you just gave it the best description that helps me
Mm.
educate other people, which is it is a romance art. People always want to make it a science to give it
Mm.
credibility, but the deep feminine has always known that science is just 1,200 years behind validating what we already know.
Mm.
And what we know
Mm.
is that we're cosmic citizens. We're humans wrapped around beautiful spirit, and we each have an incredibly magnificent role, if not roles, to play in the evolution of consciousness and heaven on earth. Let's get going, people. And the chart's the way you can know what's the lesson plan.
Ah, let's get to it. Wow. Before I get into your new book that is coming out, I would love to start with Use Your Planets Wisely. This has been such an important book for so many people. You released it in the last 2 years. Using your planets wisely, just to establish a baseline, can you share with the audience what that means?
Yes, there are 10 planets and Chiron in everyone's birth chart. Everyone has them. The chart is just a picture of the heavens at the moment you were born, where those planets were placed in what signs. My
Mm.
book, Use Your Planets Wisely, which came out in 2020, is about you looking at each planet in your chart and the sign it's in and learning how to move from what I call a primitive level of applying that energy to an evolving level. It's so important to know what is the baseline that we all lapse into based out of fear and bad conditioning, but what can we reach for? So, for example, what's your sun sign? We'll give an example with you.
So I'm a sun and moon Gemini and a Leo rising.
Okay, let's take the sun and moon in Gemini. So, the sun is your basic identity. Gemini is an air sign ruled by Mercury. When you are in your primitive mode, that particular energy would be very distracted, disassociated, skitterish, not focused. But when the sun, your basic identity, is evolving in Gemini, it confers upon you with your own work a eloquent and masterful communicator. And so it doesn't mean you're not going to have those moments of being a ditzy, airhead, but you can shift that the minute you notice it, right? You could notice, oh, I'm really kind of disconnected, disassociated, and not very
Right.
focused. And then you can say, no, my art here on this planet, my identity is an artful, eloquent, masterful communicator. And so
Mhm.
clearly that's what you're doing. And you just keep leaning toward the evolving. Now, if we take your
Mhm.
Leo rising, and oh my God, are you beautiful? I've never met you before, but you're just stunning. And that's
Mm.
very good with a Leo rising because the rising sign is how you appear to others, who they first meet when they meet you. And Leo the lion with the beautiful mane of hair is who we first meet when you're evolving, is this open-hearted lioness who's there to just create more radical love on earth. So
Mm.
that's really working for you. And then the moon is your emotional needs. Everyone has a moon sign. Yours is Gemini. When it's in its unskillful, primitive place, your need is just to talk obsessively and get nowhere. It's just like ruminating, persevering, just
Voted
looping,
most talkative in
looping,
school.
looping. Yeah. Yeah. But when you're evolving, your moon in Gemini becomes the quintessential emotional communicator. You know what you're feeling, you know how to describe it, you're a great listener, and that emotional, deep conversation is nurturing for you and others. So that just breaks down how I look at it. The book, Use Your Planets Wisely. Every single person can use that book to unpack how to move from the primitive to the evolving in all aspects of their chart. And then my new book, which is already out, #1 in astrology, is called A Map
Ah,
to Your Soul. I know, I'm so proud. You have no idea, but you
how
might have heard yet.
incredible.
Yeah. I was just telling my partner today to work this hard on something and have it really pay off in terms of
Wow.
results, because you and I are both wanting the same thing. Let's help people change the consciousness. And this book is my
Yes.
love letter to all the people, whether they are into astrology or not. How do you become a fully expressed human being
Mm.
running on all cylinders? Because my contention is, if you are fully expressing all your gifts and talents, you will inevitably help the world, because that's how energy
Mm.
flows. When I'm full, all I want to do is help you and others. That's all I want to do.
I love how you just express such beautiful things in the most natural way. Everything that you just shared was like ding, 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 ding. I'm just so aligned with your work, and to think of, I really believe in living my chart, and I think as some people are coming more into this world and kind of opening, especially, in certain communities of culture, opening to things that are ancient and began at the beginning of time, but accepting them as useful tools now is some of the hardship culturally. And when I first got acquainted with my chart, I think I had my first reading at 19, and then, you forget, you got to have your Saturn return for most of it to kick in. And by 30, I really started using my chart as the guiding post of my purpose to help me learn and understand, especially coming from a challenged background, how to best use my gifts, how to find them. I found that my chart gave me validation for parts of myself that I thought only I was experiencing. And it really allowed me to bloom in the truth of who I am outside of societal programming and outside of all of the experiences that felt really complicated in my life. So living my everything that you just shared, I was like, yeah, when previously, if I was out of balance, it was like talk, 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 ask all the questions, like really be the person controlling the conversation and dictating where it went. And now I crave silence. But when I do speak, I try to, at my best, speak from a space of service to others, speaks from a space of compassion and of knowledge. So hearing that was really beautiful because I see that as well in myself and in my chart.
That's so
With
cool.
your,
Yeah,
mm, how
go
did
ahead.
you first connect to your chart? Because your background is utterly fascinating. You are like every single thing a person would need to awaken, or every single thing a person would need in another person to awaken.
Thank you. Well, as often is the case with healers and teachers, I came to all of this because I was hurt and wounded and traumatized. So, my starting with astrology and psychology was my own desperate plea to my soul to find a path through the trauma and the hurt and the confusion. So,
Mm.
my path started really at 18 and a half with astrology and psychology. And I have been studying and practicing both ever since. And then in the last 20 years, I created a nonprofit with my partner, and that nonprofit has been focused on helping young people, parents, and educators learn social emotional skills. So I've also become a national trainer in social emotional education. So my three
Oh.
buckets, if you will, are astrology, psychology, and then how to really work with social emotional issues and bring them into a higher consciousness. So
Wow.
that's my path. And, it clearly was selfish. I needed the healing. But because I was so, so devoted and committed to my own growth and healing and to stop doing
Yes.
harmful things to myself and others, I
Yes.
do feel like I've benefited beyond any imagined outcome from all of this help. And then I'm able to pass it on to others.
Hmm. Mm. Wow, that is so beautiful. A word that came up for me a lot when I was first really becoming acquainted with my chart and also just my own depth of psychology was building spiritual confidence is the terminology I used for myself. And I felt that working with my chart, really working with regulating myself emotionally, it allowed me to build my spiritual confidence so that I was able to be in a lot more trust with my life, and a lot more trust with the greater complexities of the life that we witness and observe, all of us having. How do you navigate, working with the chart? There's so many different styles of astrology and also really fascinating ways that a lot of new healers and emerging healers are using astrology in their work. What do you notice in terms of kind of the world astrology or the collective astrology of what we're seeing in this moment? And how can we utilize that also with our individual astrology?
Well, that's a great question. I think that there's been an enormous swing toward astrological knowledge in a time in which the institutions of our world have failed us through racism, sexism,
Mm.
homophobia, all the rest of the isms. Astrology is thousands of years old and never cared one way or another about hierarchy. There is no better
Mm.
human. There is no top dog. There is no make it to the top and that's the end all of your life. It's really about
Yeah.
integration, and it's a cosmology that says everything belongs. Everything
Mm.
belongs. And so I belong. So I
Mm.
think a lot of people have turned toward astrology because there's no organized religion about it. And it's a great connecting tool, and it's a self awareness tool, and it's readily available. And like any movement, it's an enormous movement. There are those people that are taking it to extraordinary, creative, and imaginative places. And there are other people that are exploiting it and using it in all the wrong ways, which is stereotyping,
Mm.
reductionism, more boxes. But I think for the large part, it's given people a sense of we have a part to play in this divine orchestration. You call it spiritual confidence, which I love and I'll borrow. And in my book, and right now I'm going to name it spiritual agency. We're in a
Mm.
divine partnership. People always ask me, what will happen? How will this turn out? And I say, well, how will it turn out? It's up to you. It's not like that. I find it so funny because like in a movie you always want to know how it's going to end, but somebody wrote that movie. Humans
Mm.
forget we're writing the movie called life. There is no
Mm.
director writer out there like got the punchline. We're doing it. So people like you and people like me are writing a beautiful movie. Let's have other people come see it. Let's have other
Mm.
people play in it.
Mm. I love the way that you just expressed all of that. Yeah, we're co creators. Act like it.
Yeah.
If someone sees their chart and I think you got to spend a lot of time with it to fall in love with it. I think I'm the best signs ever, right? I think I have I'm like, "Oh, this is the dream chart." Which is not to say life hasn't been profoundly challenging, but where it's guiding me, as I stay aligned and on course, I'm really excited about how my life can potentially unfold. For those that may begin working with their chart, because something I do hear from a lot of listeners to this show, as sometimes when we explore this topic, is, but it feels so negative, right? When they look at astrology through a psychological lens, they just see their out of balance self very often. And
Wow.
the understanding that it can really evolve into more, but we have to see what that baseline of where we're at now is. I hear so often, even from listeners in this show that are inspired and excited about this path, saying, oh, but it's hard for me to really look at it regularly because it feels negative.
Okay, well,
How can,
two things. Any astrology that's spreading fear is not astrology you should pay attention to. Any astrology
mm,
that's negatively framing things, not astrology you should pay attention to. There's a lot of apps that get
mm,
your attention by warning and scaring. No. The best app
mm,
that I've looked at is Channy's app, Channy Nicholas. And it's never
mm,
negative, it's positive, it's purposeful. She's the real deal. Get that app. But look, I have a hard chart, meaning some people have harder charts than others. But there's nothing in my chart that doesn't say, go, Jennifer, go. All of it's grist for the mill. All of it's able to be turned and composted into gifts and shared experiences. So,
mm,
yes, you have to be able to interpret what the complexes are, like what was I born with? Oh, I've got this difficulty and that difficulty. But all of them can be elevated to actual rapturous skills and gifts. All of them. So I want to say to your audience who's ever listening, don't ever listen to anyone that's stopping at the limitation. The chart is a
mm,
portal to your magnificence. And every design in the chart is for you. Every design in the chart is for you. None of it is to try to keep you down or make your life more painful. It's all a lesson plan for your ultimate growth.
mm. Jennifer, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That sounded so purposeful, so beautiful, and so tangible to really begin to explore this with all the gifts and benefits that are in it. Your latest book, your number one bestseller, A Map to Your Soul. It was just released this past October. Everyone listening will link to the episode in the body of the summary. So you can click through to that right here on the pod. Please walk me through this book, the second tier on this beautiful exploration of self.
Yes, and I want to tell you because you're going to be so into this. I have also this amazing oracular astrology deck coming out in March that will blow you away, that has to do everything with the transits and the aspects. So by the time
Oh,
you
I'm
get,
here for that.
well, I know you are, so just be on the lookout in March. But this book is really a primer for everyone to look at their areas of life that are related to the astrological houses. There's 12, and they pretty much cover all the parts of our lives. But in each chapter, you can dig in and start to really realize where you could be more expressed, where there's more space for your full bloom in every single
Mm,
aspect of your life. Your persona, your values, your communication patterns, your home or shelter, your creativity, your love life, your health habits, your
mm,
partnerships, your sex life, your beliefs, and even travel, your friendships, what I call the sacred crew, the most important thing in 2023. So we should talk about that. And
yes.
and the 12th house, spirituality and psychic abilities. So the book covers all these 12 areas, but gives
Wow.
readers an opportunity, alone or with others, to truly start wondering, where have I been blinded to another part of myself that could emerge? And the book
Yes.
is so
Yes.
practical for people to start investigating with each other. How can I
Yes.
become more of who I am? And that's the whole point of the book, a fully expressed life.
You are speaking my soul language.
Well, Leo rising, you just want to keep shining. You don't want to stop at any stop sign. You want to keep on the road of self discovery.
Yes. Yes. The guiding light. And anytime I don't do that, I suffer. And every time I do that, I bloom.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's been really powerful.
So I want to talk about the 11th chapter and the sacred crew because it's going to be the most
Yeah.
important part of our lives in the next few years. As the planet Pluto goes out of Capricorn into Aquarius in 2023, that's after 16 years of the organizations and institutions and money systems taking a massive hit. We go into this whole exploration of what it means to be kinship, what it means to be affiliated, what it means to be what I call the sacred crew. And one of the things people forget all the time to mention, and so I'm going to say it, is I wouldn't be here on this show with you. I wouldn't have written 11 books in my life if it weren't for my
Wow.
sacred crew. They are the people that have helped me become who I am. And the fallacy of the rugged individualist is what's really hurt so many people because number one, it's not true. Nobody gets there without a lot of support. But two, people actually think they should be shouldering everything and doing everything. And if they aren't doing it themselves, they're weak or they're lazy. Oh
Mm,
my God, I'd be so nowhere without my people. I'd be nowhere.
mm, mm. Yes. And coming into 2023, what are you seeing? What are you sensing in how,
Well, you can
that
see
16
the
years?
turmoil,
Yeah.
this, the fall of 2022 and the winter into January is going to be super tempestuous and difficult and lots of radical shocks and surprises. And we're already having them. It's not going to be any newer than this. But we're all facing like the recession and the global political strife. And it's a lot of hard stuff. Let's be real. But my
Mm,
contention is if every single person decided to put positive energy towards something in their life every single day on this planet, we could shift it like this. It could be a
mhm,
nightmare into a
mhm,
dream. And the dream I
mhm,
have by the time Pluto goes into Aquarius is can we really wake out of the unconsciousness that we're separate? If
mm,
people really understood, even though you would think getting a virus from a market in China, you would realize we're all so connected. But if we really got it, you could never act in a day harmfully toward another because, in fact, it's you.
mm, mhm,
So the Pluto in
mhm,
Aquarius is we wake up to what we've sowed, but we also wake up to the communities we've built or haven't built. And what are their
mm,
core values?
mm,
So I know my community, the core value is kindness, the core value is generosity, the core value is protecting and providing for the less fortunate. You got to really get clear who are your people, what are they committed to?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. What are your values? What are the pillars that you hold yourself up on?
And talk to your people about it. Like, don't make this a guessing game. You're around
Mm,
certain people in your life. Are they fountains of inspiration and support, or are they drains and dramas? I
mm.
don't got no room for the drain and drama. I love the people, but I don't need to invest in them.
Oh, thank you for saying that. The freedom. I wish you lasting peace, but I can't keep spending my
No.
energetic currency here.
And it doesn't actually work. I mean, I'm the most guilty of it, so it's been a hard thing in my chart to let go of being the savior and the hero. It's never worked out. But what I
Yeah,
finally
never.
realized is there's so many growing flowers I can be spreading my light to. Why would I spend a minute trying to pull some weed out of the ground that doesn't actually want to go out? No, let it grow, focus elsewhere.
I know that was a breakthrough for someone listening to the show right now, and I am giving you permission to stop and rewind and listen to that again. Spend a little time journaling to that thought Dr. Jennifer shared again, please. I have to ask while I have you. So, a, a year that has been coming to me a lot as kind of being able to get the closest to normal as whatever that means, but the closest to not constantly overstimulated. I've been getting a lot around 2024
Me too.
astrologically.
Yeah, yeah.
Really? Okay.
Well, just here's the thing, and this is the important part. There is a calmer kind of cosmic astrology at the end of 2023 and 2024.
Mm,
But it also is the consequence of whatever our actions have been, how calm or relaxing or stabilizing that can be. So I would say if you knew that the results of your actions will lead to a cosmic shift that we could all enjoy in 2024, what would you do full on every day if you knew you were the linchpin, you were the cause, you were the one that was going to make this a real turn towards some equity for
Yes.
people and love consciousness spreading and awakening? Like, I want to tell every audience member that's listening, believe it or not,
Mm,
in your fingertips is a spark that could be the one spark that makes it a contagious love fest.
mm, 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 Please, everyone, ignite your spark.
Yeah.
Ignite your spark. Wow. I am really excited to continue to unpack this book, to share it. It is in stores now, A Map to Your Soul, and I'm really looking forward to your Oracle deck. I it is so much fun to get in there and to just see your own self and your own inner wisdom and inner authority come to life through using gorgeous tools like that.
And also, the reason I did the deck, that was really 30 years of work. So I think you're going to love it.
Wow.
But the reason I did
Wow.
the deck and these two books is because, we really have been given a secret code to living a really great life. It's an amazing thing in this bizarrely chaotic creation that we've been given this code of how to actually awaken and how to be part of an animated cosmos and how to know ourselves as beloved. This language leads to that. And so I
Mm.
think when people take the time to meditate on this code, at least for me, because I've been 40 years into it, I get secrets all the time, like little whispers from the heavens. Oh, Jennifer, have you thought about this? What about that? Oh, what about that Leo rising? Maybe it would look like this. And it's like whispers from the cosmos, your own personal romance with the cosmos. I just think people should really realize that this is a toolbox that's just free, you know? It's amazing.
Yeah. 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 Ah, it has been amazing having you on the show. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for sharing this deep wisdom and this gorgeous perspective and language with my audience. Dr. Jennifer Freed, A Map to Your Soul, her latest book by Goop and Rodale is in stores right now. And please, as you're adding things to cart, check out the previous book that released in 2020, Use Your Planets Wisely, and just have fun. Expand over this next year, diving into yourself with these gorgeous tools, loving on your chart, letting your chart love on you, and then live your chart, live your highest alignment, live your healing, live your wisdom. Thank you so much.
Well, I have two things to add. One, go to jenniferfree.com because when you buy the book through me, you get a lot of free gifts. Secondly, how can I support you? Because you are the future. And I want one of my goals in my older years is to mentor young women that are making the world a much better place. So I want to just know how I can
Mm.
support you.
Oh my goodness. Thank you for that question. Would it be okay if I thought about that for a little
Yes,
moment
but
and
no, I
reached
mean
out?
it. I really mean it
Thank
because I
you.
think that, you've done the work, you shine, you're a beacon, and I know that we have to lift each other up, and I want you to know I believe in you. I'm here for you.
Mm. Mm. I deeply feel that and I really receive that. Thank you. And I will absolutely take you up on that.
Okay.
Actually, I have one more question before you
Okay.
go. If I could have
Sure.
a
Yeah.
couple minutes. It came to me. One of the things that you speak to is compatibility, like cosmic compatibility. Something that has been really fun for me and friends who are also awakening or on this path already is looking at, kind of our synastry, like looking at the ways that
Yeah.
compare and meet one another in this life. And it's been really gorgeous when, especially those I'm closest to that are part of my sacred crew, we are clearly seeing the past life connections in our chart. We're clearly seeing the unified mission that we shared. And we're even seeing some very similar challenges at ages and times we didn't know each other that we were going through at the same time to awaken us to the current version of ourselves. It's been absolutely gorgeous. It's something with everyone that works for my company. I have everyone's chart. We look at it for working styles and compatibility. And absolutely, I'm not dating someone without seeing their chart. Won't do it. We're definitely not going to be in partnership if I don't know what that's looking like.
That's crazy.
So
Okay.
I would just like love your thoughts on some of that cosmic compatibility and how that can be really useful when we think about friendship, love, partnership, and even look at because studying my ex-husband's chart was such a freeing gift for me on my path that allowed me to come into a space of such beautiful compassion for our journey. And so just any thoughts you have to share
Well,
around
I,
that.
I think you've said all the high notes, but I'm going to confirm.
Ooh.
I don't know what I would do without knowing my loved ones' charts and my family members' charts because you get a peek into everything about them. And then you see the
Yeah.
intersection of your chart with their chart. And that intersection tells you one of two things: what your karma is going to be with each other, like what you're working out, and two, where you can really fly and really support each other. And I,
Yeah.
as a psychologist, have done the Myers Briggs and have done other
Yes.
personality inventories. There is nothing more specific and helpful than astrology. And for me, I've been very close to some family members and others know to understand the chart
Mhm.
connection with the ones, especially I'm not close to, and get a more objective look at what it is that creates the friction and not take it personally. This is a godsend. So to me, you got to know enough astrology to really look at what is called the synastry between the two charts. But in my book, that's the best investment you could ever do with a company, that you could ever do with a family. I do family readings, I do couples readings. This is like
Wow.
pager when people really get it. Oh, that's why when you go in the closet and cry instead of come out and have me hold you, Scorpio moon. I'm just saying.
Woo. Yeah, I dated one of those. Whew.
They're all good. Let me say, everything is good. You just got to
Yes.
know what's the
Yeah.
what's this emotional roadmap that you're dealing with, because so much of what goes wrong in relationships is people are projecting their own chart onto that person and going, "Why can't you do it more like me?" Whereas if you really get the beauty of each person's sovereign chart, you're not trying to change them. You're just trying to
Mm.
understand them, and you can find inroads. Like my partner's triple water. I'm a lot of fire and air. 26 years of this. We've had to have so many conversations about our charts because we approach things so differently, which is beautiful, but it's sometimes a real workout.
Yes. Oh, thank you for that deep dive. That is so gorgeous. And when I tell you it is the most everyone useful tool. I had there was a challenging friendship in my life where we just knew we really loved each other as friends, but we could not there was so much unspoken tension that neither of us fully understood. And we both sat down. An app that I personally love is the Pattern, and you can
Yes,
run your
the pattern's
bonds. And
great. Super good.
yes, oh, it's so good. Shout out to Lisa Donovan, dear friend. When you put your charts together, she and I went through it, and we were able to see, oh, this person triggers you this way, this person
Exactly.
triggers you that way. And then we were able to talk through what that felt like to each of us on opposing roles. And it freed us in such an incredible way that really allowed me to stop feeling so irritated when I felt that I was being kind of pressed up upon, and to be able to see my dear friend in such a new light and really understand her unique sovereign journey and not try to step on it, to just be able to let both of us be ourselves and say, feeling a little tension doesn't mean that something's wrong or needs to be solved. This
No,
is
tension is
just
growth.
a
Tension
pattern.
is growth opportunity. And I think there's a saying in social emotional work, name it to tame it. If you can make something
Mm.
conscious, it doesn't become your fate. Like when we're not
Mm.
conscious of the
Oh,
tension or what the particular problem is, we act it out. But if I say to you, for example, your Mars is on my moon, like let's say your Mars is conjunct my moon, which it isn't, but let's say it was, no matter what, I feel like when you're around me, you're aggressive. That's just the way that occurs.
mm.
Now, if we can name that, like, gosh, I don't know what it is, but when you walk in the room, I feel like aggression's walked in, then we can talk about it. We can joke about it. We can detach from our reactions to
Wow.
it. I just think that you're doing remarkable work to do this with your company and your staff. I would recommend we did it at our nonprofit with at least 10 people, and it is hilarious because we all just start going, yeah, that's the way that shows up, and we make fun of ourselves and we laugh instead of crying, you know?
Yes, right. This divine comedic tragedy.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
yeah, it's something that a few of my friends always bring up. My Venus is in Taurus, and so that's always a point that friends bring up to me with a little bit of laughter when they see me in the world. They're like, "Oh, there goes your Venus in Taurus."
I want to know how that shows up because, by the way, it's one of my favorite Venuses. So I want to hear what
Really?
they're joking with you about because Venus is exalted in Taurus. I bet you didn't know that, or did you?
Can you tell me about this?
Okay, well, Venus, Aphrodite, likes to be in Libra and Taurus because she, the goddess of beauty, and she, the goddess of material savoring and Epicurean delights, likes to be in the luscious, sensual sign of Taurus. It's an earthy, sensual, slow moving, gorgeous, let's devour and enjoy, the
Mm.
materials of life and beauty. I love
Mm.
Venus and Taurus. Crazy for it. But how does it show up with you?
In every way that you just express, like the way that my friends joke with me, one of my good girlfriends especially, she's always like, God, you're just so romantic with yourself. You
Yeah,
live life in such a romantic way. And
yeah,
I do. I love to savor. A lot of friends tell me I have a very Epicurean vocabulary.
yeah.
Things are really yummy to me and
There you
nourishing
go.
me.
That's the point. And put a lot of oils on
Yes.
your body and take long
Oh,
showers and baths and like just,
do I?
yeah. Oh, by the way, I want to say something at this moment. One of my dearest friends, one of the greatest energy healers I know, she has a line of aura sprays because her Venus is in Taurus. And
Oh,
she makes these aura sprays. It's called Sweet Soul Sister aura sprays that you, as Venus and Taurus, will go mad about because not only are the best products I've ever used, but she makes them gorgeous because she has Venus and Taurus. So she makes no money on this because her packaging, her everything is like,
that is so me.
right.
Oh my God. Oh, thank you for that. I also am an energy healer, so this is so aligned.
Oh, wait
I
till you get these aura
wrote
sprays.
it
I
down.
like live on them, live on them. But
Ah,
because she reminds me of you and that, she loves the beauty and the beautiful clothes. And then she makes her
yeah.
products like as if they're going to the queen. I don't know. It's funny to me. I don't
It
have
you
Venus.
know,
I'm Venus in Aquarius, so I appreciate you all, but I don't have it.
one thing, it's like I am the queen of baths, and something that a lot of listeners will connect to in hearing this is I always tell everyone, use the whole bag, sis. Like
Yeah.
if you run yourself a beautiful warm bath, it's don't scoop it. You use the entire bag, dump it in. I'm like, I expect to spend like $15 per bath because I am working it like I'm cooking on the stove. I'm about to submerge myself in healing and beauty and nourishment.
Well, let's
Ah.
be real. Venus and Taurus ain't never cheap.
Woo!
But guess what? That's the goddess return to earth. So we've got to revere this Venus in Taurus. She is Sophia, the goddess of the embodied
Mm,
sensual beauty. So go with that.
mm. Oh, Dr. Jennifer, I mean, just what a complete gift you are to Earth. Thank you so much for your work. Thank you for this conversation. Thank you for answering your call. Thank you for being a lighthouse to others. And in many times that probably it was so hard to be that deeply conscious mind in an even more than now unconscious world. I'm just so grateful.
Thank you. I really felt that. You give love very well. You're a good love
Mm,
giver.
mm.
Okay, well, where do you live actually?
LA, I was going to ask you the same thing.
I live in Santa Barbara, Montecito. So sometime
Oh,
we'll have to meet.
I would love that. I am always driving up to Santa Barbara too. I
Really?
love taking that drive. Yeah.
Well, I'm having a book party at a Montecito estate October 28th if you and a friend want to come.
Oh, I'm there. Let me write this down. And yes, October 28th.
So just email me and then I'll send you the address. And it's just like from 4 to 6:30. I'm going to do a mini workshop and just have everybody meet each other. And it's a diverse group. It will be very interesting, but like about 50 people.
I am there.
And
Thank you
maybe
for inviting
Gwyneth
me.
will come. You never know.
I did an event with her a couple years ago. Her
Really.
energy is whew,
I love her.
gorgeous,
I just simply
pure,
love her.
aligned.
Yeah, she's really happening and she takes a lot of hits for being a lightning rod and I just love her. So, okay, but
Mm,
I love you now too and you're in
I
LA.
love you.
Maybe you'll
Yep,
come to the party.
I'm there. We are
Okay.
connected.
All right. Take
Thank
care.
you so much for your time.
All right. And when will this come
Bye.
out? Because I will blast it beyond you have no idea.
This is actually going to come out within the next week, and we will
Oh,
send
great.
you everything. Like, I want to speed this out.
Okay, let's speed it out and I'm going to spend some money marketing it
Oh,
because you're great.
you
Okay.
speak my I love you.
Well, I have a moon in Taurus, so my
Oh,
partner's always laughing at me because she's like, "And what are you spending money on?" Okay, it's a fine. Okay, it's all for the good.
wow.
All right,
Ah,
take care.
take care. Mwah.
Bye.